Boom. Boom. So what makes these non-structural muscles is mainly that they basically don't insert into bones, most of them. They insert into the skin around that area, and so they can move the skin, but quite often they don't, not all of them, but basically most of them don't insert into bone, and so they're there to kind of pull up cheeks and open up eyes and things of that nature. So, this is head, neck, and face. Let us go through here. Here's what I really want to point out to you guys. Here's what I'm hoping you take from today's lesson. I am not hoping that you memorize facial expression muscles, but if you want to, knock yourself out. You'll be a better person than me, because I definitely have not memorized them all. But I'm very familiar with the concept behind the names. So when you see something that says like orbicularis, orbicularis means orbit. It means it goes in a circle. So if you see orbicularis oculi, like binoculars, it literally means the circular muscle that goes around my eye. So while I might not remember that, like if somebody said, hey, name those muscles, I might not be like, oh, orbiculus oculi. But if somebody says orbiculus oculi to me, I'm like, oh, orbital, circular, oculi, eye. This must be a circular muscle around the eye. Or somebody might say orbicularis oris, oral. That's where that comes from. It is the circular muscle that runs around my mouth. Orbicularis oris. Make sense? Hopefully it does. You guys already know about the frontalis. It's part of the occipitalis, the one muscle. And then you've got really fun stuff like levator labii superioris aliquae nasi. Don't worry, you'll never have to say it again. But it literally means the thing that lifts up the lip of the superior nasal. So labii is lip, and so you're going to see a lot of stuff like this. And nasi is nasal. So these are little muscles in here that do that. When you see zygomaticus major and minor, you might not remember exactly where they are, but you know they've got to be by the zygomatic arch. Zygomaticus major and minor. And by the way, I honestly couldn't draw them on somebody if I didn't study beforehand. But it lets you know, like, oh, that's in this area. The oculi stuff is here, the oral stuff is here, the zygomatic stuff named here. So a lot of this makes kind of common sense, if that helps. And that's kind of what I want you to take away from this thing, because we want you to be thinking massage therapists, not just memorizing massage therapists. We will also see when we see a side view. Let me see if I have a side view. Yes. You do have ear muscles. And people that believe in evolution believe they're around from a time when you had to turn your ears like an animal did, and you still have them. Some people are conscious of them and can use them. They can actually watch them use it to wiggle their ear a little bit. But just kind of a cute little side note right there. And again, they're kind of named appropriately. Posterior and anterior and superior and all that stuff. So again, we don't want you memorizing all this, but we want you kind of familiar with it. Buccinator is one that you hear a lot of. Buccinator actually gives you the ability to purse your lips, to actually squeeze them in to like blow a horn. Buccinator. It's actually allowing you just to collapse your cheeks right here. You wouldn't just use, for example, a buccinator when you're blowing a horn. They're using that to make it a point of why you'd use a buccinator. But you'd also use the mouth muscle too, because it's a sphincter muscle and it closes in my lips. The buccinator closes in my cheeks right here. By the way, a lot of people believe facial massage helps keep skin and muscles supple and elastic, which helps faces look younger. So it's why the reason estheticians do that. Here's depressor. We know depressors bring down. Anguli oris. Think about what this is saying. You know what a depressor does? Down. Anguli, the angles of the oris, the mouth. This muscle depresses the angles of the mouth for when you're sad. Yeah, for when you are depressed. So again, I don't memorize these, but I can have a conversation with somebody because they make sense in my brain. Oh, a muscle that pulls down the angles of my mouth. Depressor labii inferioris. Labii means lips. This thing is underneath the lips and it pulls them down for this attractive look that this lady is sharing. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. But it's exactly what it says. It's a depressor that's inferior underneath the lips. Depressor labii inferioris. You have a levator anguli oris, right? It lifts up the angles of your mouth. Kind of cool, kind of simple. Yeah? I like Mrs. Zong is moving her mouth. Okay. Sorry. Levator labii superioris. There's two. Even more superior than the inferior. Mentalis. These little holes here that are in your chin are called the mental foramen. And so it makes sense the mentalis would be right over those two things. Remember the thinker, the famous statue? The thinker? It's kind of holding on to these muscles right here. Mentalis. Yeah. Orbicularis oris is a sphincter muscle. Sphincter muscles are in a circle. You have them at many openings and closings in your body and inside your body, by the way, that you don't see. And they're very good at cinching stuff up. We already talked about the platysma. Remember, it runs into your jaw, runs under your skin. It's what makes my neck pop out like this if I flex it. Risorius. I have no way to remember that. Sorry. Just forget about the risorius. Zygomaticus major. It kind of runs along the cheekbones. This is your zygomatic arch, right? So it kind of makes sense in that way. Zygomaticus minor, still by the cheekbones. So the reason I do this is because I'm not going to memorize facial expression muscles, but if somebody were to talk about them, I would be in the right area. The minute I heard zygomatic, I'd go, well, it's somewhere around here. And that's close enough to me for what I'd be working on. Levator labii superioris aliquae nasi. That's a mouthful. But it lifts up the lip of your nose. Nasalis. I actually like massaging this on people. I'm not joking, actually. I like to lift up their nose over the bone here. I think it's very, I don't know. Kind of opens up their sinuses. I like it. It's got portions to it too, but we're not going to get into that. The fact is there is muscles on the side. Procerus allows you to kind of frow your brow here. Pulpus little area. A lot of people, when they get Botox injections, actually have them on purposely inject into the procerus to make it not do that, because they don't want that to happen. Corrugator supercilii. We all know what corrugated aluminum is, right? It's that rolling aluminum. This kind of does that too. It lets me corrugate, fold up my skin right here. I already explained about this. Orbicularis oculi. Oculi means eye. And we've already talked about the occipitalis and frontalis being part of the occipitofrontalis muscle. And they raise your eyebrows. And then the auricularis muscles, which help with pulling on your ear. Not a structural muscle at all. And I can't move mine, but some people can. They'll be able to lift their ear and pull it back and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you can learn how to do it. And that is all the facial expression muscles. Yes. Boom. All right.